The only difference between try and triumph is just a little oomph. This is episode 34 of Stuff on Sawdust. I'm Daniel with Viking Woodworks. Let's get into this. Have your sales hit a slump for your woodworking projects? Have you lost a little bit of motivation or creativity? Well, today I'm gonna spark that creative nerve in the back of your head, and we're gonna make some of my best-selling, banging projects for the springtime. Meet me at the table saw. For our first project, we're gonna be using some of this wonderful mahogany I've got. And I got this piece already milled from a previous project, but I need to mill this other chunk. So that's where we'll begin. The first project is going to be a jewelry caddy. That's simple to make, but one of my hottest sellers in spring. So let's meet at the joiner and get this milled down. Alright, now that we got this milled up, we're going to go ahead and cut it to the correct dimensions that we need for our jewelry caddy. Our stock that is already cut to dimension is 2 5/8 by 20 inches. And it is 3/4 inches thick. But we're going to cut it down at the miter box. But first we'll get this one ripped to 3/4 wide and then cut it at the miter box to its final dimension. And we'll take this cut in a couple passes because of how thick it is. Now let's meet at the miter box. So first things first, we're going to put a 30-degree bevel on one end of each piece. Now we'll take and put another 30-degree bevel on this side. And that measurement works out to be 14 inches long to long of a 30-degree bevel. Now we'll take and pull over 16 inches on our top piece and cut another 30-degree bevel long to long 16 inches. Now let's head back over to our table saw. So by now you probably realize that this is not your average jewelry caddy. This is going to stand on your nightstand or dresser like so. Or you can add some key slots to the back here and mount it on a wall. For now, we're going to find the center of our bottom piece, and it is ripped to 2 5/8, so that is going to work out to be at 1 5/16 inches. So mark center, grab your marking wheel and line it up with that center mark, and we're just going to make a couple light marks right down the center of this. Our next step, we're going to take our 2 1/8 Forstner bit, and we're just going to drill out a couple of holes, one right on top of the other, and then we're going to chisel out the remaining waste. Let me demonstrate that over at the drill press. So what I've done here is I've set my table height right where my drill bottoms out before it will break the bottom surface of my piece. That way I can get 2 consistent depths. And that's what you should be left with. Now you can do this either with a router or the way I've done it, but the option is up to you. I'm just going to take my marking wheel and I want to be right at the edge of my hole. And then we'll just scribe right across that center right there. And just chisel out this waist here. And same thing on the other side. We'll just chisel this waist out up to that line. And there we have it. Oh, we got a FedEx. It's a picnic table. It's for chickens.
I know exactly what that is.
Isn't that so cool? Thanks, Richard. You're amazing. Oh, that cedar smells so good.
That's so cute.
Well done, sir. Well done. What a nice surprise when you get surprised by your members. Thanks, Richard. I appreciate it. Our next step is going to be to drill 2 pocket holes on our bottom piece here. And I've got 3/4 inch stock. So we'll set it for 3/4 of an inch on our jig. And we'll make sure our socket is set at the 3/4 inch mark. And we'll grab our clamp and clamp the jig to our piece. And go ahead and drill these holes. Just like so. And obviously they will be hidden because they're on the very bottom. And that will ensure that once we glue this up, those 2 screws that we've added will give it the ultimate support that it needs to stay upright. And we will be using an 1¼ inch screw. Alright, so before we do glue this up and get this fastened together, I want to go ahead and drill 3 holes on my actual riser. We're going to be using 3 3/16 inch dowels. They're solid brass. And we're just going to space them out accordingly going down our riser. I'm going to be drilling my holes at 3, 6, and 9 inches. And I'll offset my holes. I'll start my top hole on the back side here. I'll do my middle hole on the front side here. And then I'll do my last hole right dead center. In order to get our holes to work out to where they're not facing this way when we put our rod in, I'm going to go ahead to the miter box and cut a little jig to use with our drill to ensure our dowels are drilled at the proper angle. Let's head to the miter box. So let's set our saw to a 30-degree miter, and I'm just going to come over about 1.5 inches and make this cut. Just making a little jig for my bit to rest on. So I'll start by taking my drill bit and pre-drilling the start of my hole just a little bit. You don't want to go too deep. And we'll do that to each hole. And then we'll take our jig, set it with our drill leaning against it, assuring the right angle. And there we have it. And that ensures that we are level. And we'll continue with our other holes. Be sure that you're holding your drill in a straight line when drilling. Alright, so our next step, we're going to go ahead and sand everything down to 150. And then we will get this thing glued together and install our screws. I'm actually going to take and fill in this middle hole that I drilled out. I typically only do 2, but thought that 3 may be a good idea. However, I had a change of heart. It happens. We live and learn. So I'm just going to drill this out and add a dowel in there and just cut it flush. And we will have this bad boy almost finished up. And we'll just add a dab of glue right where our dowel is going to go. And get this hole plugged. Just like new. Alright, the next step you're going to want to take is get a straight edge and clamp it to your bench. That way you can line up your piece correctly and flush to the bottom of each other and glue this up, and we'll move on to the next steps. So we're going to use our CA trick for a temporary clamp with some activator, but first we got to add a dab of glue, 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 add a dab of glue. Just add a little dab of CA glue, and the CA glue will act as a temporary clamp. Go ahead and get your piece ready with your activator. Hit your opposite piece with the activator and press these two together, holding them nice and firm for about 15 seconds and let that CA glue cure. Alright, we'll let that wood glue finish drying for about 20 minutes or so, and I'll meet you back here to finish this bad boy up. So here what I want to do is just drill 2 pilot holes with a 1/16 inch bit, assuring that I don't split it when I add my 1 1/4 screws. Just like so. Now it's time to hit this thing with some shellac, and we'll do 1 coat of shellac, hit it with some hand sanding at 200 grit, and put 1 final coat on it, and watch this thing come straight to life. Now, I'm sure y'all are curious as to if I'm going to leave this like it is. Well, the answer is no. I'm going to add some flocking to our little pocket that we drilled out. And instead of buying that expensive ass adhesive that's like 36 bucks for like an 8-ounce little can of it, get yourself some spray paint. Rust-Oleum is perfect, but make sure it matches the same color of the flocking. Say it with me. You flock around, you find out. And then just take and cut out for your pocket. What the flock? Damn geese. They ain't never gonna stop. And we'll just add some additional protection back here because we are using spray paint. And we'll hit it with a light primer coat. Nothing too heavy. And we'll let that first initial primer coat completely dry. Once that initial coat dries, we'll go ahead and add a super heavy second coat. You want to put this on extra heavy. If you think you put enough, you didn't. Put some more. And wear a mask when using flocking and turn a fan on. You do not want this nasty stuff in your lungs. And we'll give that about 15 minutes to dry up. And we'll install our brass rods and have this bad boy finished. And wait until you see the profit that this packs. Alright guys, so it's been about 15 minutes. We're going to go ahead and take the tape off and get rid of the excess flocking. We'll just take and give it a couple taps just to get rid of that excess. So we're just going to add our brass dowels. And I've got a 10-inch dowel and a 12-inch dowel. And I'll put the 12-inch at the bottom. And the cool thing about this being offset is you can hang your necklace back here, put yourself your watches right here, and even hang a watch out on this side. I mean, how cool is that? I absolutely love this project, and I highly recommend building it. Not only because how easy it is to make and how good it looks, but these things sell like hotcakes. Not even kidding. Check out what they're getting for these online. Holy cow! That, my friends, is a big-ass profit, and straight up my alley. I got the material calculated to build this at $3, including the brass rods. $3. Shipping, you're looking at $5 to $10 at most. This, my friends, packs one of the biggest profits in my shop. Well, thankfully, we have enough time to squeeze in a little bonus project for this spring that will be sure to get you some traffic. So let's set this to the side and meet me back at the table saw. Now, I'm pretty sure that most of woodworkers have scraps that look like this laying around their shop. And if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. But these scraps measure out to be 4 inches by 1.25 inches by 1/2 inch thick. What we're going to be doing is making a phone stand for our pesky phones that don't have a stand built in. And I can't tell you how many of these I sell year round, especially during the spring for some reason. But my goal is to help y'all generate some traffic. So what you want to do is just take your phone and angle it at about the angle you would want for it to sit if you were watching a video like Viking's videos. And just make a little mark on the front and the back side where your phone cover sits. Then what you're going to want to do is grab your handy dandy miter gauge and get damn geese are crazy. And figure out what that angle needs to be. And in this case, it's going to be at a 15-degree angle. So we will set our miter gauge at 75 and sneak up on this fit. And you want your notch to be about 1/2 inch deep. So I've got these awesome setup blocks, and I'll just raise my blade till it bottoms out on the bottom there, and now I know I'm set right at 1/2 inch. Take this cut nice and slow, leaving your fingers away from the blade. Let's rock and roll. And that's how it should fit on your phone case. And it'll hold your phone like that, or like this. How cool is that? But we're not finished yet. Don't go anywhere. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where you going? Time out. Pay attention. We're going to up the ante on this phone stand. We are going to make this a keychain phone stand. Oh, yes. I'll leave a link for all this hardware in the description. So, what you want to do is get yourself a 1/16 inch drill bit. And we're just going to drill ourselves a pilot hole. And I want this to be right here on the very corner of my phone stand. So we'll come in about an 1/8 inch and come down from the top of it the same amount, about an 1/8 inch. And just drill a little pilot hole. You take your little screw that they provide with the hoop on it and twist it on in there like so. Now they'll also send some of these connectors with the package that I'm going to be linking in the description. And this is what you will use to connect the actual key ring to that screw. So just take it and go ahead and loop it inside that hoop that they provide. If my fat fingers will allow me. Oh my God, I hate my fingers. Okay, I got it on there. And then take your keychain and just loop it right in there as well. Once you get them both inserted in that little connector piece, just take a set of pliers and close up that hoop. Just like so. And now you have a badass key ring phone holder. Not only are these things super cool, why not make some money off of your scrap wood, or how I call it, wood that hasn't been purposed yet. These things go in a range from $2 upwards to $10. Sometimes I've seen them at $15 for the personalized option keyring phone stands. I've got a laser and I'll wind up engraving my name on this, but I would probably sell this with it engraved $8. $8 for this piece of wood? Absolutely, why not? Before we go, I wanted to share just a couple of projects from some of my members who recently shared their photos of the projects they've done with me. This first project is from one of my members named Scott, and he actually sent me two projects. He sent me this badass lamp and this badass little end table nightstand. These things are super cool, man. I absolutely love them, Scott. Great job, brother. Next up, we got David May. He sent me this badass workbench that he just got finished up about a week ago. Built out of mainly repurposed wood, and I absolutely love it. Great job, David. Keep getting in the shop and making that sawdust, brother. Well, rock stars, that does it for episode 34. I hope this chopped that creative nerve in the back of your head. Until next time, get in your shop and make some sawdust. Thanks, guys.